My name is Leo Bai, and today I'll be going over some concepts I learned in Python this year. So, the first concept I want to go over is I/O operators. So, in this piece of code that I created, it opens a file, reads it, and then closes it. So, at point one, I imported str error from OS. This will allow me to help catch any errors. At point two, I opened the file txt using a try statement, and then I read the file text.txt. At point three, I closed the file text.txt with the .close method. And this code in between right here, it counts the number of characters in the file, and this print statement will print the number of characters in that file, in the file text.txt. And at point four, there's an exception, which is basically there because just in case this code, like there's an error in this code and it doesn't open the file, it'll print an error has occurred. So basically, when I was creating this code, I kept getting the IO error occurred, and I didn't know why at first. And then I realized I was getting this exception error because I didn't have a file called text.txt. So then I created a file called text.txt, and then now everything runs smoothly and the code works. So the next topic I want to go into is exceptions. So in this piece of code, I use try and except statements. So at point one here, I used a try statement to start my code, and then I did 1 divided by 0 at point 2 because that will create an error. And then because that would create an error, I had some exception statements down below. So at point 3, I had a value error. Just in case the code above was a value error, it will print 1 cannot be divided by 0. And then at point 4, I had a zero division error. So if the code above was a zero division error, then the code will print it is undefined if divided by 0. So as I was creating this code, I kept getting an error when I was running it. And I was wondering why at first. Because when I first created the code, I only had the except value error because I thought 1 divided by 0 was a value error at first. But then I realized that 1 divided by 0 was a zero division error. And so I added the exception statement of zero division error. And now the code runs smoothly and it prints it is undefined if divided by 0. The next topic I want to talk about is polymorphism. In this sample code, there's one superclass of dog and two normal classes of dog. So here at point one, I created a class of dog, and it includes the breed of the dog, and it also has a string, says wolf. And then I created a subclass of dog called sheepdog. And basically, sheepdog has a string, don't run away, little lamb. And I created another subclass of dog called guard dog, and this class has a string stay where you are, Mr. Intruder. So now I made two dogs, Rocky and Luna. Rocky takes from the sheepdog class and is a collie. Luna takes from the guard dog class and is a Doberman. When you print out Rocky, since it takes from the sheepdog class, it'll print out collie because that is the breed of the dog, and then it'll print says wolf. And then after that, because it takes from the sheepdog class, it'll print don't run away, little lamb. So Rocky will print collie says wolf, don't run away, little lamb. And Luna will print Doberman says wolf because Luna is a Doberman and that's the breed of the dog. And then it also prints says wolf. So Doberman says wolf, and since it takes from the guard dog class, it'll print this string right here. So Luna will print Doberman says wolf, stay where you are, Mr. Intruder. So at first when I was creating this code, I got a lot of errors. I realized that I forgot to indent a couple things like the self.breed right here, and then like the return under the sheepdog class. So I got errors because I didn't indent those lines. And then after I indented those lines and I fixed my code, everything works perfectly fine. Lastly, I'd like to go into the lambda concept. So in this code, I created a function using lambda. So at point one, I created a function myfunc with the parameter n, and then I used uh, I used lambda, and then basically it does a times n. So then I created a thing called doubler, which is equal to myfunc, and then the n is 2, and then I printed doubler 8. So what this does is it enters 2 in for n, and then it enters 8 in for a. So it becomes 8 times 2, and which is equal to 16, and this code outputs 16. At first, when I created this lambda statement, I thought I had to indent after this colon right here, because usually like in a class or in a function like up here, you have to like go to the next line and then indent that line for the code to work. So I thought that's what you had to do for this lambda function, but that's actually not what you had to do. And after I fixed that, my code works perfectly well and it prints out 16. So thank you guys for listening to my presentation, and if you guys have any questions, feel free to email me or like just ask me.